Well, you know what time it is, folks. It's time for Old-Fashioned Fridays. You know what that means. Time to get absolutely trashed while we discuss GuildWar shenanigans commentary. You know what? Give me a break, guys. It's Senya's Choux. It is the most basic bitch-like defense that we have to deal with, like, ever now. Like, I've used Christy, Senya... I mean, I've used Christy, Shadow Knight, Pyllis, and Roana into fighting this for so damn long. Like, I don't even feel anything anymore. But, yeah, to those of you who are uninitiated, basically, this is the team that I use to go into Senya Choux comps, and quite frankly, I've even done this in the past, where I just straight up auto the fight, and I leave it alone. Now, I don't know, I was feeling a little bit antsy, I was relaxed, I was laying down on the couch just doing this, so I was like, I don't feel like autoing right now, and also I didn't have any particular podcasts or news to listen to today, so, okay, cool game, you have my undivided attention. But that ultimately does mean you're going to see some next level dumb shit later on in this fight anyway, and I'll have to properly explain it to you so you really understand it. But we're not there yet. We'll get there on match 2 sometime. So, ultimately, yeah. What all are we dealing with here? Hey, there's Choux. Choux is only going to go into Shadow Knight Pyllis because she is the blue unit. The other 2 units on the left side are Christy and Roana. Those are 2 green units. So thus your 2 blue units, which is Lua and Choux, are only going to hit Shadow Knight Pyllis. What's the other cool thing about Shadow Knight Pyllis? Whenever you have Christy there, you have a metric fuck ton of ER. Whenever you have a metric fuck ton of ER, nothing happens to you. You don't get random death breaks. You do not get random provokes. You do not get any sleeps. You do not get reset. None of that shit happens. It's incredibly based. But, hey, I don't think I have to really sell this team much more than I've already showed it, like in any of the times that I've really done it. Like, I've seen a lot of other people's comments whenever they see this particular team, and then they just immediately think, damn, I gotta go ahead and build Christy. It's like, yeah, you damn right you do. She's just super, super awesome. It's a 3-star knight that just sits there, gives you all the ER that she has. Well, if you want to be technical about it, she gives half of it. So the way in which Christy's kit works is whoever is in the back row of your team, she gives half of her ER to whoever's in the back row. So I have somewhere around 200, somewhere close to that. So I give like just free 100 ER to Pyllis in the back. Pyllis has 150 base ER that's on her in terms of gear, but then she also has special rune mechanics to her, which is a part of the spec change, where if she's like above 80% health or something like that, she just gets free 60% ER. So like just straight up base, I have like 200 ER. So the only thing that'll really hit that is like a 150 or something like that effectiveness. But then whenever you throw Christie's like just extra 100 ER on there, fuck, you ain't touching me. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. But, oh God, are we done yet? No, we're not done yet. So you know what? Hey, it's Old-Fashioned Fridays. Gonna hope you guys have some booze with you. If you're of the legal drinking age, which, hell, I would hope a lot of you are, because, hey, that's how we afford our units. We work. We're not underage. That's the whole point of these gotchas for children. We're the adults. We have to work to purchase our units. Isn't that cool? Ah, shit. So, yeah, and the other thing that's actually kind of cool about Christy, something I've really noticed, I don't know what her, like, damage multipliers are, because she actually does a fair amount of damage with the one little hit that she has with her S1. I've kind of noticed that, like, she does a fairly decent amount of damage for having no crit damage, and it's, like, all just based on HP scaling. Honest to God, if I had another Rocket Punch, I would honestly consider throwing it on her, but I would be a little bit concerned without Aureus going into, like, other various things. But hey, I mean, that's where, like, all the testing really comes in, and I just haven't had an opportunity to really test it. And man, are we about done here? This should hopefully kill. Yep, it did. So now I just need one more hit into Lua, and then we can move on to the next team. So yeah, guys, build Christy. Christy's based. Build Shadow Knight Pyllis. She's based. And get Roana. She's based as fuck. So next team, we have Conqueror, Lilias, Mercedes, and Rem. Something I don't see very often, but quite frankly is annoying as hell. So one thing I decided to do is I'm going to go into this with Senji. Senji's going to go ahead and do her S3. This is going to cleanse the other people in the back because Conqueror Lilias went first. And then, because Zahhak is faster than my Luna, he's going to go into Rem. Now, this does not kill her. But even if it does or it doesn't, it actually doesn't matter, because this is where Luna comes in. So if that killed Rem, cool, then we'd kill the Mercedes. But because this doesn't kill Rem, we're going to kill Rem now. And this will also give us an extra turn because of the way her EE works. So if you kill with her S3 with her EE that I have selected, it'll give you an extra turn. And it'll also give you extra souls. Those souls can be used to soul burn the S1 because her soul burn is actually stronger on her S1 than it is on her S3. Okay, cool. We just got through all of that. Holy fucking shit, that's a lot of things to talk and process. But I ultimately don't actually recommend that team because that team has a lot of RNG to it. I'll explain a little bit more later when we get to the next fight because we quite literally fight the same thing right here. So now I'm going into pretty much the exact same team with Shadow Knight, Pyllis, Roana, and Senya. Now, the reason why I'm using Senya is strictly just because I can. It's really one of those cases of like, oh yeah, why aren't you using Arunka? Well, I just didn't feel like it. And I just kind of felt like using Senya. Because in all honesty, my Senya is actually a little bit tankier than my Arunka is. It doesn't really matter though. But because Roana's there, if I wanted to use Arunka, I honest to God could. Because like, Roana just like keeps everything super, super safe. And like, I want Magic for Friends to hit me. And also, keep track of, like, the sheer number of times that this Rem just straight up hits my Senya. She hit her right there, because, like, there was no reflect damage. It's really dumb. So, there was one miss. Okay, cool. But, like, okay, cool, that was a crit. There was another crit. Hey, what the fuck is anti-crit? Like, okay, cool, thanks. But yeah, here's your general strategy. I know some people like to say, like, oh man, Mercedes is the bigger threat. Oh man, Rem is the bigger threat. Well, I'm on Team Rem. Straight up because if you kill another unit before Rem, you have to deal with Demon Mode. What is Demon Mode? Probably the stupidest mechanic that we ever got in this game ever. To those of you uninitiated, Demon Mode basically just makes her completely immune to all debuffs ever for 2 turns, and all of her ER procs and chances are basically 100%. So, like, yeah, her S1 has a 50% chance of, like, death breaking, but, like, with Demon Mode, it's still a 50% chance, but if that procs, then the death break will land. That's basically what Demon Mode is, and quite frankly, I refuse to play that game. It's really, really, really dumb. In fact, that's one of the probably biggest problems that's in E7 right now, is the sheer amount of just like, oh, I bypass effect resist horse shit. And I understand why it's there. It's basically there to bypass the 15% mechanic that everybody complains about so much, because the skip effective resists shit also bypasses 15%. And that's the only reason why everybody uses it, and it's like so frequently everywhere. I quite frankly really wish it wasn't everywhere. I quite frankly wish they would just deal with 15%, and then we wouldn't have to deal with all this ignore ER horse shit. But you know what? That's just where we are. That's the state of the game. We just have to deal with it. Oh, look, Magic with Friends. Delicious health. Seriously, like, what other team can you really like go into Mercedes and want to be punished by Magic for Friends? I love Roana so much. Easily my favorite Soul Weaver in the game. Probably not the best, but hey, the way in which I use her, I love her to death. So, we've gotten 1 kill on Mercedes, and now we just have to kill her 1 more time. So, like, Senya's not really doing a whole lot right now, but hey, you know what? That's fine. I don't get an opportunity to really use Senya that much. Sure, it's my own fault, because I could use Senya more into, like, some of these Senya shoot kind of teams, but I just don't like to use mirror matches. I really don't. Like, if we can't do a mirror match in RTA, then, like, why should we be allowed to do a mirror match in, like, GuildWar, you know? But hey, whatever. If you guys have if you don't have a problem with doing mirror matches, by all means do them. It's something that I just don't like to do. Like, very rarely I'll do them and I'll, like, post them, but, like, I try my best to avoid a mirror match as much as possible. So, yeah, now we're down to just Conqueror Lilias here. There should be an option at some point to, like, force the enemy to surrender or something. Just whenever you have a situation like this where, you know, like, they can't possibly win. They don't hit, like, a damage threshold to kill you. You're just going to win. So it's like, okay, yeah, cool. We'll just waste my time. Whatever. Let's go to the next fight. So, there's a couple of things in here that are interesting and also just, like, bad calls on my part. So, let's go over the first thing here. So I have DJB here strictly to deal with Peira, but my oh-so-genius brain completely forgot. Oh yeah, Adin also gives, like, invincibility to everybody on the team. But fortunately, you can still affect the units with the barrier. So now she doesn't have a barrier. Now, that wasn't as bad of a call, but this absolutely was. So when you use Basar's S3, yeah, you give immunity to everybody and you push everybody up. But you know what you also lose? You lose the damage mitigation that you had. Because you notice how that Adin had attack buff and she hit my Basar and it really didn't do that much damage? Well, now Basar doesn't have damage mitigation anymore. So you'll notice it whenever it pops around. But, yeah, for now, I'm kind of going through this just like happy-go-lucky. Oh, humdy-dumdy-do. I'll just do whatever. So I'm just going to hit Ed. It's not going to hit stun. Oh, fuck, it did. Okay, well, we're still okay. We've got double Guardian Ice Crystals for extra hilarity. And, oh shit, that just did 8k. That was just the S1. Oh shit. Okay, well, that's really, really bad. So, like, if you wanted to utilize a strategy like this featuring DJB, and you, honest to God, do not need cleansing, like, because you have Destina there who would do the cleansing for you anyway, yeah, just don't use DJB's S3. He straight up just has damage mitigation as long as you have it. It's really, really based. And I didn't think to do that. I don't know why well, I know why. It's because I wasn't thinking. So, ultimately, yeah, DJB's out of the game. He's not coming back. So, now we just have Destina and we have Choux. So, I have a couple of other strategies that I'm willing to do. So, because I have Choux here, I have the general, like, bane of, like, Edward's existence. Because Edward cannot handle, like, the shit that Choux does. Which is exactly why anytime you're dealing with, like, Lua, Senya, and then Choux or something, that's why I never bring Edward into that. Because Choux, as soon as she starts going into Edward, you are going to get murdered. It's just going to happen. So, another thing I could have done is I could have soul burned the Destina, because one thing that Destina does have with her S1 soul burn is it's a very, very hefty heal. Like, it's a very good heal. It's probably one of her best heals in her kit, as opposed to, like, her S3 on living opponents. But, like, right here, I attempt to try and see if I can tempt odds, and, like, okay, cool, anti-crit will work. Oh, fuck, anti-crit's not working. I mean, hey, anti-crit will work. Oh, fuck, anti-crit's not working. And just like that, Destina's dead. So now we just have to rely on the devil herself, Choux. Can the devil, Choux, actually pull this off? Well, it's certainly looking like she can. All we have to do is get one more hit and we win. Praise be Devil Choux. That you did, Choux. Here's some beef jerky. And now another fight that was surprisingly kind of difficult. So yeah, this is Ahmed, Savior Adin, and Apocalypse Ravi, and I decided to bring Dark Corvus to tank all the hits from Savior Adin, and I brought Doris to tank all the hits from A Ravi, and then I brought Alencia as extra insurance just to deal with A Ravi just in case. So here's the first mistake right here. I shouldn't have done that. Why the hell did I just do that? So I just gave Provoke to A Ravi, so now A Ravi is going to hit my Dark Corvus, and she's going to injure me. And then I decided to go for the S3 here, just for the sake of possibly stripping the Ahmed if she had no ER, and also getting rid of the skill null that's on Savior Adin. Shazam! I just lost 5 souls. I'm a fucking retard. So what I should have done at the start of that was just go into Savior Adin immediately with Dark Corvus, lose almost no souls, and then go for the strip with Alencia, and then I would have had way more souls at the end of the day. So that's like the one important thing that you could always remember. And also that little bit of injury might have actually had an effect, because right here, I don't kill this Ravi. Maybe like that 1,000 extra damage would have actually helped. In fact, we'll see it here in just a second. And I kind of judge, what should I do? So I ultimately go for, like, okay, we need to have Dark Corvus at max HP, because we're still dealing with Savior Adin. And Savior Adin will fuck your shit up bad if you're not prepared for it, if she's hitting a dark unit. Like, case in point, that's almost doing 8k. Like, you don't want to fuck with that. And so then Ahmed is just going so fast. She's already got her second round of skill null going out. And then here comes Aiden's next set of, like, S3s. Thankfully, like, Proof of Valor is doing work. And, like, this is pretty much the biggest reason as to why I'm probably never going to get rid of Proof of Valor on Dark Corvus. I could probably put a better artifact on Dark Corvus, but I can't take Proof of Valor off, especially with some of these, like, really, really powerful, like, all-light teams coming into play. Now, here is a catch-22. It sucks. But this is not a mistake going into Ahmed when she had skill null. I did that strictly to heal. So yeah, I soul burn and S3'd just because the amount of HP you get back is based on the damage that you do. So if skill null actually prevented damage and, like, I got no heal for that, that would have been extremely bad. But thankfully, that's not the way it works. So yeah, that wasn't a bad play using, like, the S3 into Ahmed right there. I did that strictly to heal. Now, if you were to review this footage, I ultimately would have been okay, but, like, my health was low enough, I was just afraid to even, like, tempt that kind of fate, because, like, Adin is like, she's probably got her S3 on her next turn, because she's hitting a dark unit, and she gets her S3 back one turn faster if she hits a dark unit with her S3. So, like, here, I'm in another situation where they have skill null again, but I don't need to use S3. I have full health. So I'm just going to go into Ahmed, get rid of that skill null, and then I'll have Alencia use her S3, hit everything, kill the Ahmed, and get rid of the skill null on Adin. Now, keep in mind, this Adin has attack buff, and she has crit damage buff, and this still only does 13,000 damage to my Dark Corvus. Praise be the Def buff. Def buff is based. Doris is the best waifu in the game. Absolutely build your 3 stars. Your 3 stars are 100% worth it. Can't recommend it enough. And now we have our opportunity to just use S3, go into Adin, and that's all she wrote. Absolutely crazy match. I really didn't think Ahmed on defense would be this much of a fucking headache. But yeah, turns out that's actually what's going to be happening. So, yeah, for our final match, we decided, hey, let's go ahead and let's just chill and unwind with some good old Conqueror, Lilias, Senya, Choux. How do I fight that? Well, I'm going to break out my Shadow Knight Pyllis, my Arunka, and my Roana. Now, what does this team do? Basically, any opportunity that I see, the priority number 1 is to kill Choux. As soon as Choux is down, the entire right side team completely crumbles, and they cannot do anything to you. Sure, you don't have complete, like, cleanse ability, like if you were to have Destina on the team, for example, but you don't really need it. Because the really, like, the worst thing that's going to happen to you is Arunka having attack down. There's really almost nothing that you can do about that. Hey, SG, going ahead and buff Arunka to make her immune to attack down. I don't care. Something like that at this point, like, shit, I'd be for it. That would help immensely. But, yeah, all you have to do is just start working on the Choux. But the problem that arises here is when you start going into Senya with Arunka, you end up getting provoke locked. And if you're ever provoke locked, then you just have no control over her. So then it becomes a race of who's going to die first. Is it going to be Senya or is it going to be Choux? However, the good news is, because I have Roana on my team and I'm getting, like, pretty hefty and pretty good heals, Shadow Knight Pyllis is actually taking the brunt of the damage. Like, Choux is always going to go into Shadow Knight Pyllis. Conqueror Lilias is always going to go into Shadow Knight Pyllis. And depending on your HP values, which right now I'm getting fairly unlucky because the Senya is actually hitting my Arunka. So Senya would go into Arunka because she's the lowest health. But, like, now, Senya's already dead. So now the only 2 units that are going to go into anybody is Conqueror, Lilias, and Choux, and they're only going to go into Shadow Knight Pyllis. We've already won the fight. So sure, we went in like the wrong order. We usually want to try and kill Choux first, but like sometimes you just don't have that option. Sometimes you just get provoke locked and you can't really make any choices. But like as soon as one of them goes down, yeah, you're kind of good. So the goal is kill Choux first, and then the whole team falls apart because that's the damage. But if you don't have that option and you have to kill like Senya first, then hey, that still works out because all of the damage is going to go into Shadow Knight Pyllis. So hey, it all works out. And I really can't like recommend it enough, guys. If you don't have Shadow Knight Pyllis built, it's super worth it. Just spend a little bit of them Moonlight summons and get some of them delicious 3 stars. Super worth it. Fuck those 5-star MLs. You don't need that shit. And with that said, that is the end of Old Fashioned Fridays. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We have about 2 minutes of of stats to go through because we used a shitload of units. But yeah, that second match that I did was probably the most egregious. It was just a case of me really just not thinking about it. Because like honestly, how often does it really come into play where you would think about Desert Jewel Basar's damage mitigation that's on his S3? I swear to God, dude, like, SG keeps, like, doing all this really, really dumb shit where there's characters with passives, but then there's characters with passives that are attached to their skills. And I think, like, the first one who really started doing that, and it really just started fucking everything up, was Violet. I think whenever Violet got his first real big, like, rebalancing to where they made it so you didn't have to use Apple anymore to get your evasion. You just straight up have it as long as you have your S3. I think that was actually like a huge mistake. But like you can't go back now. Like you can't go back now. Like shit's too fucking crazy. And you know what's really funny about that? That sounds like it's still really crazy, but you know who still like counters that? And it's a blue unit? Lua. Because Lua can straight up reset you without even attacking you, because it's a freaking non-attack skill. It's so ridiculous, because that's what Violet's supposed to do. Violet's supposed to be, like, the super premier, like, anti-blue unit. It's like, hey, yo, you got blue units? I'll just solo your shit. But you can't do that if Lua's there. Isn't that cool? I hate that fucking unit. And hey, how often do I get to use Senya and Choux in a GuildWar? Almost never! But, hey, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please leave a like. And if you want to see more of my content, please hit subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. It does wonders for my mental health. Hope you have a good one. Later.